Hey everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day. I'm wearing glasses, like real old school book basement vibes. But the truth is I haven't worn makeup or contacts in like a very long time because it is May, which for me is MCAT study season. So literally all I do is grind for the MCAT, which I'm taking in June. The only reason why I'm wearing makeup is because I went to Vanderbilt commencement this morning and I haven't washed it off yet, even though it is 11 p.m. The thing is, I told myself I wasn't gonna film anything until after my MCAT, but A, I already told myself I was gonna waste this day because of commencement, so, why not? And B, this book is due this coming week, and this coming week I'm going to have an apartment mate, and I don't wanna film when other people are in this space, so I gotta film it before they come. So yeah, we have this shambly setup with my study lamp providing lighting in this darkness. Me filming in front of my bathroom door. So let's go. As you might know, I'm gonna be talking about Becoming by Michelle Obama. Becoming came out in November of last year, 2018, and it almost immediately became the best-selling book of that year. And since then, I think it's sold over 10 million copies, but essentially it's just an extremely popular, successful book by Michelle Obama, who is our former First Lady of the United States. For those who don't know, it's a memoir that encompasses basically her entire life. So the first section, there are 3 parts: Becoming Me, Becoming Us, and Becoming More. Becoming Me starts from her childhood and it goes through her entire, grade school life, in addition to her Princeton undergrad years, her Harvard law years, and the beginning years of her youthful career as an attorney working for Sidley and Austin in Chicago. The second section, Becoming Us, is about her relationship with Barack, how it kind of blossoms and becomes something very, very important to her, but also it talks about her career struggles, her realizing that she does not want to work for, a big law firm because she doesn't think that she's affecting change properly, and she doesn't think that that's what she's meant to be doing. The second section also talks about Barack's increasing desire to run for public office, and so it goes through his campaign for the Illinois State Senate and also the US Senate, and of course the 2008 presidential election for the United States. And it's really interesting to see Michelle's personal relationship to politics and how much she really doesn't like it, and how she wishes Barack, didn't run for those things because she would rather him be there for the family. It's just incredibly insightful to read through Michelle's perspective. And then the third section is called Becoming More, and that starts with Barack Obama becoming the 44th president of the United States, and it goes through basically her entire term as the First Lady, as FLOTUS, and it ends basically in the present. So we really follow the entire life journey of Michelle in this memoir. And like I mentioned earlier, it's one of the best-selling books of all time, and there are countless, just thousands and thousands of people who have read this book and have been extremely moved by it. And so it sounds dumb to say this, but truly, this book affected me in a way that I've never experienced before. Like, there were times when I was reading this book where I thought, this was written for me. Michelle was in my brain. She took the things that I care about and the things that I needed to hear, and she put them all in this one book. I'm putting the book down because my arm got tired. I started reading this in December, and then I took a long break from it, and I recently picked it back up over the past couple of weeks. And I didn't want it to be over. I had to tell myself to read slower or to read fewer pages at a time because I wanted to savor every single moment of reading this book. It was truly the most incredible reading experience that I've had in recent memory. And that's both because it's very well written. And that being said, I don't know how many of these words are exactly Michelle's own words, because I feel like when you're someone who's releasing a book with this amount of public eyesight on you, I'm sure there were crews of editors making sure this book was pieced together just right. But regardless, excellently written in terms of structure and style, but also it's the content. It's what she's saying that really, it pierces you, and it kind of just settles inside of you, and it ignites something within you when you're reading. It's just so incredibly inspiring, and I feel like inspiring is such a trite word now. I feel like everything and anything could be labeled inspiring in some capacity, but this book is truly just one of the most inspiring books I have ever read. I would literally read this book for an hour every morning between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m. with a mug of tea, and without fail, every single one of those days between 8 and 9 a.m., I would be sobbing, especially when I got to the third act. I was so incredibly affected by almost everything she was saying. I would start crying on every other page. And sometimes it was happy tears because she was saying something that I have been thinking for so long and she wrote it down on paper. Or sometimes it was because she was talking about a tragedy. And I think in Act 3 in particular, it's like hit after hit after hit of emotionally devastating or emotionally significant pieces. It's like paragraph after paragraph, page after page of hard-hitting things that either positive or negative are invoking such strong emotions out of me that I end up just sitting in my chair reading this book and crying in the morning. The thing is, before reading this book, I would gas up my friends by comparing them to Barack. You know, I'd be like, you are Barack Obama and you need to be looking for your Michelle. And this person, XYZ, is not your Michelle. But after reading this book, I want to be Michelle. I don't want to be Barack. I mean, not like things have to be a competition, but Michelle would win. She's so incredible and she's such a role model, and I don't know if I've ever read about a woman who has more drive and has an ability to focus on the bigger picture as much as Michelle Obama can. She has this amazing way of never losing her mission, and she works for this mission in so many different angles. She'll do it through healthcare, through education, through the choices of schools or universities she visits, through what television interviews she decides to go to. Everything she does, she's working for her greater goal about increasing accessibility for minority populations and women in particular. And I think those are things that I care about so much, and the fact that she does it just through everything she does, every action, every choice she makes, she's always working and striving towards this greater goal. Reading that is it's incredible. I've said incredible at least 2 million times in this video already, but I feel like when I get this emotionally attached to something or this excited or galvanized about something, it's when the English language fails me. I've suddenly lost all of my vocabulary. I don't know what a synonym is. I'm left speechless by how affected I was by this book. And like I said, this book has been read by so many people. So many people. I am sure that I am not special in feeling this way about this book, but this book to me was everything that I needed. And this past month for me has been very, very stressful for a myriad of reasons. And when I'm reading this book, I forget about all the things in my life that I'm stressed about, because instead I just feel inspired by the work that Michelle Obama is doing, and I feel so fired up. I desperately want to be fighting the good fight alongside women like her. And suddenly it's like my real life problems seem so trivial compared to the work that I could be doing and the work that I want to be doing. And ultimately that's what I want to do as a physician, and that's why I have to grind so hard for my MCAT, is because I want to go to med school and become a physician and provide healthcare in a way that's accessible and progressive. And I want to be doing my part in making this world a better place the way that Michelle Obama has done that her entire life, essentially. There's so many different avenues, and I think that's what makes her so remarkable, is that she never quits and she never thinks that something is irrelevant. She's always focused on the bigger picture and her core mission, and she never lets go of that, regardless of how visible she becomes, regardless of how much fame follows her. Instead, she uses that fame and that power to spotlight the issues that she cares about. At this point, I should tell you, this video, not a book review at all. It is quite literally a love letter, a video version of a love letter to Michelle Obama and to this memoir. This book was just really so stunning to me. And the thing is, you don't even need to agree with Michelle Obama's politics or my politics to appreciate the fact that she does such great work. She does great work that affects everyone, regardless of political party. And I think another thing that I just really appreciated about this book is that there are many times she talks about very, very, very difficult things, and she mentions a lot of national tragedies, but she never does it in a way that feels helpless. She always keeps the mindset of, we can be working towards change. And there was always a hope to make this world a better place and for us to do our part in changing whatever traditions are trapping certain populations. The thing is, she's hopeful, but she's still honest. Is the world sometimes completely garbage? Absolutely. And is the fight against that going to be easy? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, and that doesn't mean we can't do it. Michelle has gone through so many different obstacles, so many different struggles. Oh, that's another thing. She doesn't really leave any rock unturned. Is that the phrase? I don't remember. Nothing is off the table in terms of what struggles she's willing to reminisce on. In section 2, the one that's kind of about her relationship with Barack and Barack's political aspirations, she talks about infertility, and she talks about having a miscarriage, and she really normalizes that experience. And she also talks about, the expensive and extensive process it is to seek a doctor to help you with fertility, and the shots you have to take and the procedures you have to go through just in order to create a child. She talks about the struggle of being a woman in the spotlight and how you're going to be criticized for wearing a cardigan. She takes everything in stride, and she's always pushing herself to work harder. And reading that makes you want to work harder. Michelle Obama is just such a role model, and I didn't even realize it, at least not to this extent, until I read this book. And after finishing it, I was so devastated. I was empowered, of course, but I was so devastated because I just know that it's gonna be a very, very long time until the book affects me like this again. Y'all, I loved this book so much. Again, I know loving this book makes me one out of an infinite number of people. This book is so popular and Michelle is such a likable figure, but there's something really magical about reading this book where it feels so individualized and it really feels like she's talking directly to you. And she's saying, yes, you do have the power to affect change. You have the power to make your community a better place. And sometimes it's just really what you need to hear. So Becoming by Michelle Obama, 100%, 5 out of 5 stars, a million out of 5 stars. I would die for this woman, probably. Such a gorgeous book through and through and through, written by a gorgeous woman through and through and through. I wish I could bottle up the emotion that this book ignites in me and that I could keep it for the times that I really, really need it. But I guess I can always reread it when I need to. Although I do need to return this within the next week because otherwise I would need to pay an overdue fee. And we don't do fees in this household. If you've read this book, let me know if you liked it. If you didn't like it, honestly, I think I'd be so heartbroken because this book is, like I said, sometimes I felt like it was made for me. But all opinions are valid, so let me know what you thought of this book. If you've read it, if you haven't read it, wow, I so encourage you to. I don't think it's gonna affect everyone the way it affected me, but if you think that you care about the things that I care about, I think you can't help but love this book. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll have a fantastic day and happy reading. Bye.